All right, welcome back. We're going to talk about building trust and rapport. Now, before we do that, we want to lay out what exactly is trust and what is rapport, and what is the difference between those two important terms. Well, trust is that firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. As opposed to a rapport is a relationship characterized by agreement, mutual understanding, or empathy that makes communication possible or easy. So there's two distinct ideas, but I want you to think about them as we move through this and why establishing both trust and rapport is important in conducting the work that you are going to do. Let's put this into perspective here. And I want to talk to you a little bit about my own experience that I've had working overseas in Africa over the last almost 20 years. I want you to think about that you're going to be an outsider. Whether you grew up in a place and came back to the place, whether you work in an organization and you're coming into a new organization, whatever role that you are going to be in, whether it's a developer, whether it's a consultant, whether it's a teacher and trainer, whether it's a researcher or a nonprofit organization, in that capacity you are coming into an area with something there that is, you have some outside perspectives. And that is okay, but I want you to recognize that. So here's me. I stick out like a sore thumb. And for a variety of reasons, and some you might not think about as to why I'm sticking out like that. I carried in this picture, I was carrying a shiny clipboard that people thought I was prospecting for land, which is not the case. I was simply trying to ask people questions. One other way is, it's customary for me to wear sunglasses. Here, maybe not so much. I had a hat. You look a certain way. I come with a local guide. I don't speak that particular language very well. I showed up in the morning. There's a range of reasons why I would be looked at as an outsider. Simply, I just didn't look like folks. They hadn't grown up with me there. They didn't have any experiences with me there. And that's to be expected. And you and your team should expect that. The first time or new places that you're going into an area, and anticipate what that's going to mean. As you start to think about how to build trust and rapport, that is your goal. That is where you want to get to. And trust and rapport isn't often rushed. Develop that plan. We've talked a lot about that in this course, is really being intentional about what you are doing in every phase of the project management plan. You want to be very intentional and plan out what you are going to do. And here is no different. Just because you're in the implementation phase and you're starting to work in communities or organizations, that doesn't mean that you can go in without a plan. And so if you are to visit that site, then this is not something that you just want to wing. Okay? Unless you absolutely have to. There's nothing said that you have to do it on your own and getting everything done on your own. You don't prove anything special about that. It doesn't make you more of a person or make you more of an expert just because you can do it on your own. It's okay, and you should leverage personal contacts in your personal network to make that entry into the community. And a good thing to do is to think about identifying gatekeepers. Are you going to be viewed with suspicion or apprehension? So for me, from my experience, it has been that folks were thinking I represent the government or I represent some large nonprofit organization that I am going to be there and do some sort of development work at times. Or maybe it's that they think that I am there to buy up land so that I can build some sort of tourism facilities. And this happens a lot when I'm in East Africa. So knowing that up front is important. Identifying those gatekeepers, who are going to be the important people that you can start to talk to, that you can gain access and gain permission. Now, that doesn't have to be the most wealthy person. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most powerful person. It doesn't have to be necessarily an elder in the village, but it does have to be somebody respected. And think about that. What characteristics are important for you finding the right person that you can use as a gatekeeper. Now, this is not necessarily the same as a champion, the person who will then really promote the work that you are doing. They really have influence over different people. Here, you're simply looking for a person or persons that will help you make that entry into the community. And when you think about it, What are you going to say to people? Now, you are not just visiting, potentially, not just visiting the elites or the bosses or the managers or people elevated in some way. It's often ordinary people, and that is totally appropriate. You want to visit that place, you're going to walk it, and when you do walk it, you're going to be running and bumping into people. So think in advance about what you are going to say to ordinary people, to stakeholders, and to gatekeepers. They are inevitably going to ask you. You are an outsider, so they are inevitably going to ask you, what are you doing here? So first step, make sure you have that plan.